Do you have your coffee?
I love it how you sing your own theme song at the beginning of your thing.
Well, I've got to test that the audio is working one way or the other, and I always find that it's a relatively harmless way of doing it. Other people do it by clearing their throats or blowing their nose, and I don't really want that in the recording.
Would you like me to write your lyrics for that tune?
What? Do.
Yeah.
No, I can make up my own like some kind of metal version of a children's song, like "Have you had your breakfast? Have you had your breakfast?"
Oh, I don't know that one.
You don't know that one?
No.
It's because I just made it up.
Oh. It sounds good.
I know.
Maybe you should record it.
Sounds good. I tell you what. Look, wait. I was thinking of a name for the. I want to say irrelevant, but I actually mean irregular podcast.
Uh-huh.
And
you know, if you shorten irrelevant, it could just be Irant.
Irant. Isn't that a country?
No, that's Iran.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, but if they put a T at the end of it, it would be cool. If there was a country called Rant, people could just go there and rant.
Yeah.
I rant.
That's this bed. It's a country called Rant.
This is going to be the title of the podcast. This bed is a country called Rant. Which sounds like a children's rhyme. Comes out like a children's rhyme. Anyway, breakfast in bed, but we don't have any breakfast.
We have coffee, that's breakfast.
It's not really munchable breakfast.
Oh, well, you don't need munchable breakfast. I don't need munchable breakfast. Coffee is severely underrated. I think coffee should be considered.
Underrated.
It should be considered full breakfast.
Did you know that the World Economic Forum uses coffee as an international currency grade?
I don't blame them. I mean, coffee's pretty cool.
Well, it's one of the only ways of the price of coffee is one of the only ways of comparing value in different countries.
Well, if you wake up in the morning, right? And you need to start working, and you can choose between having a cup of coffee and hitting a golden brick over your head. Which one are you going to choose?
I'm going to choose hitting a golden brick over my head, because I'm going to be so happy that I've got a golden brick that I'm just going to continually hit myself over the head with the golden brick, because I don't actually believe that I've got a golden brick.
Well, I would choose the coffee.
No, if you'd like,
any day.
If you'd said like a hedgehog, then I wouldn't have chosen a hedgehog, because they're spiky and uncomfortable.
Oh my god, my bed is laughing.
The bed is laughing because there's a kid. There's a big kid in the... What is a big kid doing in the bed?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. He just appeared tonight.
He woke me up
night.
in I don't know if it was in the middle of the night, because I don't know what the middle of the night is. So, and said, I swear that I remember him saying, "Mummy said that I can get into bed here." And then I looked around and Mummy wasn't here. So I don't know where you were.
Well, I fell asleep while I was putting Jasmine to bed, because Jasmine said, "You have to come and sleep with me." And when Jasmine says something, you don't say no. You just go and obey.
She's that kind of motion with her hand,
yes.
Which is like that. You know, like kind of the Matrix thing where Neo is like saying, "Come on, come on." She kind of does that thing with her hand.
She's one with the Force.
She is the Force.
She is the Force. She just comes and says, "You are going to put me to bed," and you just have to go and do it.
Yeah, well, the power of...
You can't resist the Force.
Come with me.
Yeah.
We are going to the garden. I'm like, I didn't volunteer to do that, but okay.
So, yeah, I was with the Force, putting her to bed.
Why did the Force need you in the middle of the night?
But, well, she didn't need me in the middle of the night. She needed me when she went to sleep. She said, "Well, you have to lie down with me." So I lied down with you. With her. Not with you. With her.
With her.
And then, of course, I fell asleep. And then William comes in the middle of the night, and he said something which I could not understand. But, you know, you see William in the middle of the night, and you know that he's asking to go into somebody's bed because he's had a bad dream or something. So I said, okay, go.
Yeah, his bad dream could have been about...
Puppies.
Puppies and puppy dogs and horses and other things like that.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, so I saw him coming down. I saw him standing there, and I did no idea what he said, but I said, okay, go. And he went.
So it could have been anything that he said. He could have said, I'm going to climb a tree in the garden. And you would have been like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's fine.
In the middle of the night. Ho hum. Well...
Oh, he's going to use that now. He's going to get up in the middle of the night and ask me whether he can watch a movie or something, just to get me to say, yeah, okay, go. Because he now knows how to do it. Because he's awake, listening, under the duvet, and he's thinking, I can use this.
He's just going to shuggle and move and kick.
Shuggle and Move could be a name of a song.
It would be a better album title than
you gotta kick, shuggle and move. It'd be good.
You just stole that from that kid's toy. That is the jukebox that has really bad songs in it.
It's a good song.
What
it is now. You gotta kick, shuggle and move.
What's the original?
I don't know. Wiggle and jump or something like that.
You've got to bump, wiggle and jump or something like that.
Yeah.
The bed is laughing.
It is.
How come the big kid ends up in the bed and the little kids don't?
Well, because I was in the little kid's bed.
Yeah?
Mm.
Yeah, but there are so many beds in this house that it's ridiculous.
Good. That's why, yes, that's why I was in the little kid's bed, but at the same time I slept fairly well, so, yeah.
I was surprised that Jasmine didn't have a problem when Zora decided to go and sleep in Will's room.
Yeah?
Because I thought Jazz would feel lonely. But being a 3-year-old left alone in her room, but she didn't feel lonely because she has you.
She does have a bit of a FOMO, doesn't she?
A what?
A FOMO.
What the fuck is a FOMO?
You don't know what FOMO is.
Don't spill your coffee.
FOMO, fear of missing out.
Will, be careful. Welcome. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, Will. Welcome to G's podcast.
Welcome to the podcast as the head appears from under the duvet.
Hi.
He's
Would you like some coffee?
Don't give him coffee.
My bad dream was a tornado was headed this way.
A tornado?
Okay.
You had a dream about a tornado. That's just Scottish weather, man. I mean, it feels like a tornado every day. You can almost imagine one coming over the hill along with the rain and the wind and the dim darkness.
I like Scottish weather.
What?
I like Scottish weather.
The
perfect weather.
Inconsistency of the fact that it's, or the consistency of the fact that it's inconsistent.
No, it's the perfect weather to look at from behind the window.
And that makes it good.
Well, yeah, because you don't actually have to go outside, and you always have a great excuse. Like, I can't go out there. It's raining. Oh, I can't go out there. It's too cold. Oh, I can't possibly go out there. It's too windy.
Well,
and when it's sunny, you can just say, "Oh, I can't go out there. It's too hot. I'm so used to the wind and the rain and the coldness." You know.
That's because you've got a job where you work from inside.
Yeah.
And the result of that is
that I stay dry.
That you that you get used to not going anywhere. He's just fallen out of the bed.
He fell out of bed. You alright there, Will? Did you just hit your head off the bedside table?
I think he whacked his head off.
He's okay.
That's ridiculous.
You know, when we were in Trnava visiting my dad.
Where are you going?
He's going to pee.
Are you going to your bed? I think you should go and get back into your bed, mate.
I just want to go put my clothes on.
Yeah, sure. That's a good idea as well. Yeah.
Just let him pee.
What?
Let him pee. Let him do something.
When I find myself in times of trouble.
Anyway, when I was visiting with Dad, everybody was looked at
your dad.
My dad.
Okay.
You know, we were in this garden party.
But your dad lives in a flat.
Yes, but his wife has a sister who has a massive house. Well, there are 3 families living in one house because it's massively massive. And she has a massively massive garden as well. And her 2 sons both. Her 2 sons both have wives. And the wives both have daughters.
Wait. It's like I met a man going to St. Ives.
Shut up. So,
is this one of Chaucer's tales?
No. My father's wife. My father's wife, who is not my mother, has a sister. Shut up. This is absolutely clear to everybody who can listen to me. If you could just stop laughing. My father's wife, who is not my mother, has a sister who has 2 sons. And those 2 sons both have wives.
Okay.
And those wives both have daughters. So they have this massive house where the mother lives downstairs and the 2 brothers live upstairs in separate flats, right? And their daughters live up there too. So they've got 3 little girls in one house. So they've got this massive garden with lots of toys in it and stuff and to play with, and a jacuzzi and whatnot. And
why don't we have one of those?
Because we live in Scotland.
That's the reason to have one.
You don't want to get into a jacuzzi when you live in Scotland. The point in Scotland is to stay dry, not get wet.
If this is my house, I'd definitely have a jacuzzi, and I'd definitely have a sauna.
If they had the jacuzzi outside for when it's nice and sunny, they would just climb into it and just enjoy.
No, but you can have the jacuzzi for when the weather's not good as well, because
you could if you put hot water in it or something.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So we were there at a garden party, and the point was that our kids, being our kids, were kind of jumping around, falling off stuff, like
as they do,
constantly.
As they do.
And everybody was like, "Oh wow, you kids are so cool! They don't cry." We're like, "Oh wow, look, Zora just fell down and whatever, broke her leg or whatever, and she's not crying. Look, so cool. She just fell off her bike and scraped her knee, and she's not crying." And Zora would just stick her hand up with her thumb up, and she would just go, "I'm okay," and everybody just laughed at that. But like, "Hey, your kids are indestructible." I'm like, "Well, they kinda
indestructible."
Yeah.
They're indestructible, like
No,
they
instructable. Like you can instruct them. You can't possibly instruct them, but you cannot destroy them either.
It's funny how that one scene from that one film, Space Chimps,
stuck
with them.
Yeah. I think it's also not just that. It's also the puppies. What do you call them? The puppies that they keep watching. The puppy dog pals.
Paw Patrol?
Yes, Paw Patrol. Sorry, puppy.
What the hell is Puppy Dog Pals?
It's a different cartoon.
Did you just make up something?
I didn't. It's an existing cartoon.
I think you
it's
just
a different
made that
cartoon, though. No.
Puppy Dog Pals.
Yeah.
Is that the most...
It exists. It's a Disney cartoon.
And creative name that they can come up with.
Yeah. So, it's that the Paw Patrol thing is Marshall always falls down and
Paw Patrol.
Causes the damage, and he always says, "I'm okay." So I think that might have stuck as well. Anyway, it's cool. It's better than crying, right?
Well, yeah, kids should fall down and then get back up and get on with it, basically.
Unless they're hurt.
Yeah. Well, I think the girls are better at getting up and getting on with it than
Will is your typical football player. Apart from the fact that he doesn't know how to play football. He's got everything else, though. You know, when he falls down, he just stays down, and he goes, oh, I make sure that everybody notices that he's down, right? And then he gets up real slow.
Well, that's why I don't pay much attention to him when he theoretically hurts himself. Like when he fell into the sea the other day.
Did he stay down?
Well, there wasn't really much down kind of involved, as he was sort of clinging to a rock as the sea was washing over him. And he did get really angry with me afterwards.
Why? Well, he always gets angry with you.
Yeah, but I mean that sometimes the anger is justified, because I'm like, maybe you should pay more attention to him than I am.
Maybe you should help him rather than laugh at him.
But he actually blamed me for him falling off the rock.
Of course he did.
Which I found ridiculous, because I was absolutely not involved in the activity at all. If I'd said to him, go and jump on that rock, and it had been a dangerous activity and he'd fallen off the rock, I would feel guilty, right? But I didn't.
The kids do that. Kids blame everybody.
He was so angry. He had that look in his eyes.
Yeah. I know which one.
Yeah, it's a stare that kind of pierces through you, but it looks like he's going to cry at the same time.
Yes.
And he had that look in his eyes. So, my feet are all wet, my socks are all wet. And it's like, well, I fell into the sea like hundreds of times when I was a kid. That's an exaggeration, but you get the idea. Because like you go down to the beach and you jump on the rocks and the waves come crashing in
and you fall into the sea.
And you time it wrong and you get wet because whatever the waves. There's a big wave and
he's got this weird thing. He's different. He doesn't like these things happening. He doesn't like anything out of ordinary happening. I was like Jonathan told me that story with the socks, right?
He doesn't like. Well, yeah. I was there when it happened.
Yeah, he told me the story with the socks. That first he offered him small socks, but Will didn't want them because they were girl socks, and then he offered him boy socks, but they were too big. So Will decided to put back his wet socks on.
The first thing that he did was he took his wet socks to the sink and he tried to like squeeze them and wring all the water out of them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he thought that was going to make them dry enough to put on or not. And then he realized they were still wet. Mm-hmm. And then eventually he put the wet socks back on again.
Yeah.
Which is like, given a choice between dry socks and wet socks, why would you put wet socks back on?
Well, that's my point. That's my point. That he doesn't, he wouldn't put the big socks on just because they were too big, even though they were dry. Do you get my point? He needs everything to be perfect. He's very perfectionist, or I don't know what to call it. He needs everything to be exactly the way it's supposed to be. Otherwise, he's not processing it.
So why is that? Why does he need everything to be exactly the way that it's supposed to be?
I don't know.
Is that because we need everything exactly the way that it's supposed to be?
No.
Or you don't?
No, not me. Absolutely not me. Because many times I tell him, oh, well, that's okay. Just get on with it. Don't worry about it. And he does worry about it,
Okay.
Whatever it is.
Well, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. He's
gonna find it hard to improvise, to be flexible in situations.
Yeah.
He already does. I mean, I'm talking about future, like it's a future, but he already does find it hard to improvise and to be flexible in situations.
He needs to join a club soon. He needs to be part of a team.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, but he still needs to be part of a team.
Everything is cool
Hey,
when
it's
you're part
Saturday.
of a team.
It's Saturday morning. This morning, right? Is there football in the park? We don't know.
Is it raining out there? I don't know.
There's always, even if it rains, there's football in the park.
Is there? Well, if there's football in the park, then there's football in the park.
Yeah, but
around 10 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah, but shouldn't he be like be part of the activities and stuff? And
he should. He would love that.
Well, why is he not?
He shall. Well, he hasn't been up till now because it was summer holiday, right?
Well,
and there was no football.
Babka asked him if he wanted to go
and see a match
and see the football, and
he doesn't want to see the football. He wants to play the football.
Yeah, I think it might have been Babka's approach was wrong.
Yes.
In that scenario.
Yes. It is tough.
I think we should let him take his bike and cycle. Now that he's almost 9, I think we should let him take his bike and cycle over the little hill behind the house to visit Jonathan, the friend in the next village, so that he can play in the cars there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I think it's fine.
I think that he will be cool enough to handle that and not get into too much trouble on the way. You can't really get into trouble. There's not well. Saying that is tempting fate, but unless you get chased by a horse or eaten by a deer or
I was wondering whether he should have a phone.
Attacked by a bison.
I was wondering whether he should have a phone because.
Do you know the bison story?
No.
He was running around outside and asked me if he could go anywhere and do anything when we were in the next village. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, you just have to be careful of the bison.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me thinking that he'd like watch those nature programs, and he knows a bit about animals and stuff, and I thought that it would click that there are no bison in Scotland, especially in the Highlands. And he was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, well, sometimes the bison come wandering through in herds, and you have to be really careful. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll watch out for them. And then I left it thinking it would click. And the other day he was like, yeah, but we have to be careful of the bison.
Yeah.
So he was still waiting for them to appear. Was that cruel?
A little bit.
A little bit. Well, I didn't mean it to be cruel. I thought it would be like a fun joke, and he'd be like, there's no bison here. But
yeah.
But it didn't work out that way. So I just left it. We did tell him that there were no bison eventually.
I did.
Well,
you would have left him in it.
Well, no, I would have told him. Maybe not at that point in time, but I would have told him that they don't exist in this part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Although there are very strange Highland cows, but with giant horns and that look like shaggy rugs. Giant shaggy rugs, kind of.
Anyway, I want him to build more independence, which is a bit hard in this village, because this village is like a giant playground, right?
Yeah.
You don't really have anything here. I mean, we started in Bystrica, sending him to shops and running little errands and stuff, and there's always, you can't send him anywhere here except for a pub.
Well,
you don't really want to send him to a pub.
Isn't the pub also the paper shop? Doesn't it sell newspapers? Or does it not sell anything anymore?
I think it doesn't sell anything anymore. I think it's all gone down.
Well, didn't I see like it's the pub is now the roasting coffee house or something like that? Didn't I see a sign?
Yeah, there is a coffee house in the pub.
Apparently
It's all together thing.
There's a folk music group as well in the village.
If we ate cakes...
What?
If we ate
cakes for?
Because it's the morning. If we ate cakes, then we could go to have a coffee and cake in the local pub coffee house. Because it's a coffee house in the morning, and it's a pub in the evening, and it's a restaurant in between, and it's a hotel at night.
Yeah, none of those things are really that successful, I imagine.
But that coffee place does have nice cakes. We've been there with the kids before when we were here.
What coffee place?
With the pub. It's a coffee place in the pub.
You know,
it has nice coffee and it has really
this,
nice
this village has
well.
300 plus inhabitants, right?
Really, only that little?
What?
Only that little? Well, I would guess about maybe 1,000 and something.
Okay, there's definitely no more than 500 people.
Well, are you counting
definitely
only Garmouth, or are you counting Garmouth and Kingston?
Years ago, way back in the Stone Age,
oh God,
I did a land use survey of this village. Now, how weird is that?
Land use, is that an adjective?
Land use.
Oh, land use. It's not land use.
Land use. Land use.
It's not French adjective.
Je suis land use.
I just licked the microphone. By accident.
Black ice cream. Yeah, at that time there were 250 properties, which is really it doesn't feel like it's 250 properties, but there are.
There's a lot of houses in Garmouth.
There were about 300 to 350 people who lived here. Now, it's expanded slightly since then, but I don't imagine that it's expanded more than 400. So
really
expanded like they've built like 10 houses.
Well, do you remember Rastoka?
What?
You remember Rastoka?
Do I remember where we lived?
Yes.
No, I don't remember anything about where we lived.
Well, I have to ask you because you've got this weird memory blackout sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah, well, we lived there for 3 years.
Well, yeah, almost.
Almost.
They had 800 inhabitants, and it was only one street. 1.5 streets.
Yeah, but you had like 5 people, 6 people living in a house there.
That's
you
true.
had like 3 generations.
That's true.
Stuff.
Here you have 1 person and 4 cats.
Yeah, and they obviously don't count the cats.
Obviously.
But what I wanted to say was, has nothing to do with parenting.
Oh my God, is this a parenting thing?
Well, not anymore.
Right. I thought it was a morning coffee and rant thing.
Oh, okay, we can do that. We can forget about parenting. That's not important at all. We can just do MCAR.
MCAR.
Yeah.
Macar.
Yeah, morning coffee and rant.
Ah.
MCARP.
Macarp.
Macarp. Morning coffee and rant podcast.
Thank you for listening to Macarp.
Macarp will be back next week with more carping nonsense. In the background, there is the sound of a
Dustman.
No, it's a grass mower mowing the 8th
is it?
the 8th green on the golf course.
I thought it was the Dustman. It always
since when did the Dustman have a
amazed me.
lawnmower?
It always amazed me how those people in that huge truck that comes to pick up your shite that you throw away.
The rubbish. The trash, the bin men.
Oh, sorry, am I not supposed to say bad words?
Bad words.
Are we like
You can say
family
any
friendly
words.
now?
Bad words, ad words, rad words.
Anyway, so it always amazed me how they call these big men with the big stinky car throwing your shirt away. Dustman. Dustman. You tell me a dust. You say the word dustman, and I imagine a guy with a feather duster. Just dusting your house like that.
Didn't Will say yesterday, excuse me, do you have a feather duster? I need to clean the back of the car.
Yes, he did. He did.
What a card. What a card. Yeah. So, well, here's my point. So, this village with 0 services, right? And
It has a fishman and a milkman and a dustman.
Yeah, but they're all mobile services.
Yeah, that's true.
I wanted to say transitory, but they're in transit. There we go.
Transcendental.
No, they're actually physical. Especially the fishman, who creates a lot of
Fish.
stir.
Oh, the fishman is... Oh, I'd love to be a fishman.
He looked a bit grumpy.
He's the most popular person in the village. Everybody
delivering,
wants to see him.
it's not one of those jobs that you sort of grow up thinking, I'm going to be a fishman.
When I grow up, I'm going to drive a stinky truck all day.
The word fishman doesn't exist. It's an invented word.
It does exist in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, but as a monster that comes out of the...
Yeah, the lake. The monster with gills and big teeth.
Yeah, but, as a job, right? It's a real job. Right, you don't grow up thinking, I'm gonna deliver fish to people. But it's actually quite... I imagine it's quite an interesting job, apart from the dirt, the messiness of the job and the smell.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, you get to travel around, you get to meet people, you get to talk with them, you get to... you get me a fish.
You get to talk with them. What, like 7 medium haddock, please?
Oh, your medium haddock are not as medium as they were last week.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, no, we couldn't have a large one. Those large ones are just like, they're far too big. No, give me 2 medium ones.
I always get confused, and I don't know.
It's funny because he's got that van that's got like these drawers in the back, and he kind of pulls them out.
Do you know how in Slovakia you go to the shop and you give everybody exact instructions? Like,
what?
Well, you don't know because you never went to a shop.
What are you talking about?
In Slovakia, you go to a shop, right? And you go like, "Hi, can I have 25 grams of that ham?" Right? You give them exact instructions. You say
that ham.
Jasmine.
Good morning, Jazz.
Hi. You coming to lie down with us?
Jazz is just...
Jazzy, can you close the door?
Bottle dog.
Can you close the door? I love the hot water bottle dog. I slept with it last night because he was too hot for Jazz.
Yeah?
Ah.
Did I put too much hot water in the hot water bottle?
Nah, it's okay. Anyway, so
look,
he can play with the
hot water bottle dog can mosh.
He can mosh with the hot water bottle sheep under my butt.
Oh, you just pull the sheep out of your butt.
Uh-huh.
That's epic. The sheep and the dog can mosh together.
Yeah. Anyway,
Morning mosh.
Stop it. I was saying something and I don't know what I was saying. I forgot completely.
You were talking about the...
Oh yes, the exactness. Yes.
Exactness.
So you say, I want this deluxe ham and I want 27.5 grams. Thank you very much. And they give you 27.5 grams. And here in Scotland, you go and say, I want 2 bits of mackerel.
What's wrong with that?
What's a bit?
Well, it's a bit bigger than a small bit.
What is a bit? I mean, does it have a definition? Doesn't it have like a Wikipedia definition? 1 bit equals 35.769 grams or something.
What are you going to do? Tell the fish to only grow to be a certain size?
Well, no, but I don't know. It's 2 bits of mackerel doesn't mean 2 mackerel fishes. It just means 2 bits. But how does the fishman know how much is a bit?
Well, he's the fishman. He knows everything.
Is it one of those weird? Is it one of those weird imperial things like feet and inches and elbows and stuff, or
imperial things, like in Star Wars? What are you talking about?
Imperial, isn't that what it's called? Imperial measurements.
Well,
like you've got metric and you've got
like,
imperial.
Britain had to be different.
Yeah, that the stone.
How tall are you? I'm 6 foot. What?
People have 6 feet, and people have stones and weird things. I mean.
Yeah, well, what do you mean you can't understand how much that is? Don't you know there's 39.37 inches in a meter? Can't you convert it? In your head.
I know, right? So easy to convert.
Of course, naturally, we all do it in our sleep, right?
Yes. How heavy is this? 15 stones. 15. How big are the stones? I mean, what do I just pick up like 15 pebbles or?
How big is a stone?
What size stones do you use to measure the weight of this thing?
Are these stones from the top of the mountain or the bottom? Have they rolled down?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I might be 15 stones, but if you use bigger stones, I'm just 2 stones heavy, right? Depends on the size of the stones.
That's funny.
British are weird.
That's funny. Yeah. The pounds thing is funny.
Anyway, so I was thinking maybe a bit.
Pounds and ounces.
Maybe a bit. It's just the British unit of volume or something, you know?
I think it's whatever you want it to be, basically. So it might or might not be that. But the point that I wanted to make was that this village has say maximum 400 people, right?
All right.
Not including people who get lost here and can't find their way out. The odd traveller who walks through with a backpack on, who I've seen, who must be completely lost because it's not on the road to anywhere.
A backpack?
Yeah, I've seen people
walking.
walking.
Actually seen a hiker with a backpack.
Yeah.
Hiking the lowlands.
Well, this is the road to nowhere because it's a dead end.
This is the road to the sea.
Yeah, I know. You get to the sea and you stop and then you have to go back and you're like, oh, that's kind of nice. And then I reckon people just go down the wrong side of the river because they want to go to the dolphin centre that doesn't have any dolphins. And
okay. So they're just lost usually when they come here.
Well, follow the river down to the its mouth, and
maybe he was looking for the Charles's house.
Hello?
That house that has the pride of the local villagers.
Oh,
that plaque or whatever.
King Charles II signed the Solemn League and Covenant here. I think it was that king.
Yes.
Right.
One of the Charles's kings. Yes.
Well, I think things have changed since then, as the village now has 0 services. But I cannot believe.
It has a pub.
Well, as a pub that has to function as a restaurant, a hotel, and a cafe in order to make enough money to pay the bills. Which is how. Look, if this place was in Slovakia, there would be
a church.
There would be a functioning church, and there would be at least 2 pubs.
And there would be a Potrovini.
Oh, there'd be a local store that sold bottles of alcohol.
Yes.
And cans of
food.
Of something that
and
resembled
mustard.
Food. And
it would have to sell mustard.
Mustard and stale bread.
Yes.
And
yes, sausages.
Rotten fruit. And
yes. Oh, and horalki.
And a lot of things with sugar in them.
Yeah.
And what was the point? Yeah, so this village and the next village, which has got 0 services again. And the next village is like, I don't know, 200 people. Must be at least 200 people. Right, so that's 600 people and not one single shop. I mean, isn't that just...
But the life here and the life there are so much different. Gee, everybody drives a big car, and everybody drives that big car to a supermarket where they make big shopping once a week. Everybody does that here. Nobody does that in Slovakia. In Slovakia, you've got a little village with little old people who don't drive cars, who don't do anything because they're little and they're old and they're poor because they don't get any proper pensions from the state. And they were never taught how to save up their own money because they grew up in socialism where they were taken care of by the state. So they're little and they're old and they can't afford anything. They can't even afford to drive a car, right? So...
Whoa, no, wait. Isn't that making my point?
So they have to have a little shop in the village.
Yeah, but it's not making my point that the people here have more disposable income.
Yes.
Therefore, if there was a local shop, you would imagine that they would dispose of their income in that little local shop.
Yeah, that would be the logical thing to do,
but they don't.
But it's not the logical thing to do for them because they're not going to walk if they can drive. And if they can drive, why should they drive to the local shop when they can drive to the supermarket where they can get everything cheaper, probably?
Because it saves you 15 minutes. 20, an hour, maybe?
Yeah, well, when you're retired, you don't give a damn about an hour. You know where to rush.
Well, the fact that the village is supposedly all about community, but it doesn't have...
Hey!
What?
What's the time?
What? Are you okay?
It's Saturday, right?
I told you earlier it's Saturday.
It's Saturday. It's Saturday at 10 o'clock.
What?
The community garden sells their vegetables here.
Really?
Yes,
where
I
do
saw
they
a
sell it?
sign. I don't know. I saw a sign by the road that says Saturday 10 o'clock produce local community garden produce sale.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was that the sign hadn't been left there for 6 months?
Well,
or
I don't
something?
know because I haven't been here for 6 months, but I've seen it last week when I jogged past it. It was where the recycling bins are. That little place that's
Well,
where
I noticed
the
that
sign
I saw a little notice board that said that there's a local folk group that organise stuff, and there's something in the pub on a Friday night.
We should go to the produce sale.
Yeah, but there's probably going to be 5 onions and a carrot.
I don't care. You have to support the local community garden.
Well, I'm talking about supporting the local community.
Exactly.
But wondering why there's so many people and so much disposable income and so much focus on community and there's no shop.
We're a part of community now without any disposable income, but...
Which means we can collect
But
everybody else's disposable income.
We can support the community. So we should go there, and maybe we'll meet somebody there. Maybe the honeyman will be there.
You what?
You know what I found out?
What the fuck's a honeyman?
Well, I was talking to your dad. Well, it's a man that I found last time I lived here, right? Because I talked to Amy, and I asked her, because Amy is really cool. We should go and visit Amy, because she's really cool. So I talked to Amy.
Amy knows everything.
Yes, and I asked her, where can I get local stuff, like people who have eggs, chickens, honey and stuff.
Is that?
And she said, well, there's a local honeyman named John Bailey. So I went and
Another
found...
Bailey?
Yes.
Is everybody called Bailey?
Yes, so I went and found John Bailey, and I bought a lot of honey from him, and his honey is really nice. And
Does he live up the road or down the road?
And then yesterday, he lives up the road, that way.
Okay.
He's got a big boat parked in front of his house.
What? Fucking park a boat in front of his house?
Yes, you can.
What?
Anyway, so... Or is it in front of his neighbor's house? I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah.
So if you parked their boat in front of my house, there'd be hell to pay.
I befriended the local honeyman by buying honey from him, and his name is John Bailey. And yesterday I was driving
Is that
with
where
your
my parents
father.
buy honey from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but only because I told them to. So
Secrets of the village.
I know, right? So hey, I was driving down the street with your dad yesterday, and suddenly a thing happened which does not often happen in my brain. I put 2 and 2 together.
And made 67.
And the honeyman John Bailey is actually the same John Bailey in whose house Jonathan lives.
That we might be renting.
It's the same John Bailey, yes. And I've heard the story that went that explained the whole family history of John Bailey and how he moved out and married somebody.
Well, Bailey was, when I was a little kid, like Bailey's
was a drink.
Bailey's business was the village, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had this transportation truck business.
Oh.
And
he kept the village alive.
Yeah, in one of those strange indirect ways, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up with money because he actually worked hard and built up a business.
Sometimes when people do that,
and it was one of those kind of big dirty businesses, because it was. I don't mean like illegal.
Illegal.
I just mean like working with trucks and fixing them and repairing them and transporting stuff and as has happened with all of the areas around here, there's no trace of it now. There was a big truck warehouse and parts place at the edge of the village, which has now been replaced with a nice collection of small cottages, and there's no trace of that industry left at all. In fact, it's almost like all industries it's not almost, it is a fact that all industries have been removed. All of them. That's been removed. I mean, you go down the road to the sea in the village, in the next village, and that was all. There were big factory buildings there and warehouses for farming equipment, and it was a massive industrial area.
What? In Kingston?
Yeah, I know, it's so hard to believe. Like where there's the football park and the kids' play area and everything now, that was massive industrial warehouses. Huge pieces of concrete and bits of tractors everywhere, and I don't know what, where, why, when, who, but something happened and they came in and they just leveled everything and took all the rubbish away and planted trees. And
we should finish this thing. We should get up and get ready. And we should take Will to the football practice.
It's early.
Yes, I know.
We don't even know that the football practice is on, even though the park is only 2 steps away.
Well, we have to find out, okay? I think we should put our clothes on. We should find out whether the football practice is on.
The Naked podcast.
And and we should go and see if the produce sale is on, and see if they have any courgettes. And
Corvettes.
And that's it. Apparently, well, Will had some friends here the other time when we were here. Alfie and somebody else. I can't remember. I can only remember Alfie because he had a nice name.
If anybody listens to this, you should have started with the fact that we've just landed in the north of Scotland. Anyway, never mind.
So Alfie used to come and go outside to the park with Will, and Babka and Didko told me that after we moved out, he just kept on coming. She said that he just kept on coming looking for Will. She said that.
Who's Alfie?
He's Will's friend. That he just, he would come a few times after we left, and he would be like, "Is Will home?"
And he'd be like, "No, he's left. Like
he's in
gone
Slovakia.
to another country."
Okay. And then in 3 days he'd be back and going, "Well, is Will back yet?" Oh, so he actually has some friends in the village.
That's weird. That the whole thing is just weird.
He actually has.
Like if someone said they've moved to another country, I'd be like, "Oh, okay." And wouldn't.
He's actually. Well, my point is, he's actually got some friends in the village somewhere. Just have to find them.
What a weird name to give your kid.
Alfie.
Alfie.
I think it's cute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's gonna get shortened to Alf.
It's not.
Hey, Alf.
My God, it's just flashback.
Yeah, the 80s
God.
80s bad TV.
Very, very, very 80s.
Yeah, but that was a very creative decade. So
God,
we forgive ourselves for believing that these things were real and important.
It's like the Muppets, wasn't it, or something like that?
The Muppets has endured the test of time.
Alf hasn't.
Just because it's yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! You talk to our kids, they wouldn't even know what Alf is. So that's sad.
No, that's good.
Isn't
That's good. They don't need to know that.
They don't know Alf.
No, hey, Jazz.
We would love Alf.
You okay over there? You cuddling up and warm? Oh, it's I don't want to speak to anybody this morning.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Okay.
I like how she does that. She's got her own self, you know.
And so she should have.
She can't be bothered.
Well, she doesn't.
I wish I could
feel
do
like
that.
she has to make an effort
I wish I could do that.
when she doesn't really have to make
Don't
an
you wish
effort.
adults could do that?
Do what?
Well, a stranger comes in the house and you can just hide your face and turn away.
What, like what I do all the time?
Well, yes. Don't you wish you could do that without actually being rude? You know, it'd be nice if nobody considered it rude. If everybody just considered it the same like a 3-year-old, you know? Like, oh, well, she just doesn't want to talk to us right now. That's okay. You know? That'd be nice.
Well, I'm like, well, let people do their own thing. If somebody wants to talk to me about something, I'm like, hey, come and talk to me. But I'm not going to make conversation with people just for the sake of making conversation with people and have just more emptiness.
Well, I'm open to that.
Well, no, the polite conversation is fine, but
I'm open to that
irrelevant,
because
empty conversation is not.
sometimes you might get surprising things coming out of a seemingly irrelevant, empty conversation. Sometimes it can transform into something more interesting. So I'm open to that option.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good to be open to that option. It sounds like the others in the house are waking up. Actually,
Yeah,
like
you should shut up.
There's movement.
You should shut up and put our clothes on. And I should ask your mom about that community garden sale, although I don't expect her to know anything. Yes, darling? I'm listening. Okay. I have to go and get milk for Jasmine.
What?
I have to go and get milk for Jasmine, so I think we should wrap it up. In tin foil.
Oh, let's do 5 more minutes.
Can I do 5 more minutes, Jazz? You can have some of my coffee.
Don't give Jazz the coffee. What did she say?
She said no.
Oh, okay. See, she knows. She knows what's good for her. She knows.
Yeah, she does.
Well, I think that there's space for services in this village, but the fact that people have tried things and it hasn't worked out is very interesting. I mean, obviously, somebody has tried to open a little cafe, and someone has tried to turn the old grocery store into a hairdresser's, and obviously all these things have failed. Is it because is it because services have become so good? Is it because people have become so self-sufficient? What is the underlying reason for the fact that there are no shops? What is that about? And how do people meet up? Because if we're going to live here, we're going to need to join various community groups.
Well, I met with the painting ladies when I lived here before. The painting ladies.
What the hell is a painting lady?
Painting lessons. They've got painting meetups every 2 weeks. Yes, an art group. Yeah, that's it. But they're all 70 plus, right? So I was a bit of a.
Well,
I don't know.
Flip
I
it, right?
don't-
I mean, people.
I don't mind old people, but it's like everything here is. Everybody here is 70 plus, right? So it's hard to find people who are not.
Do you know what I think? I think there's kind of an ageism thing going on, which is the fact that people look at it and go, "Oh, there's only old people there, so I'm not going." But I think if some younger people started to go, that more young people would be attracted.
Really?
I think it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think that people say, I'm not going because there's only older people, and so nobody younger goes. So I think that if younger people started to do things, then other younger people would be attracted. Now, I could be completely wrong, but that's sort of the philosophy. Also, look, there's an age range that is not here, right? I mean, people finish school, the age of 18, 17, whatever, and then they go away. They go away to colleges and universities and work in other places. And so maybe 18 to 30 is not here.
Well, and 30 and up are usually too busy to join anything. So they're just taking care of their families, really. But that's sad. They should join.
There's not even a working. Look, the fact that there's not a functioning church here. No, it's going to sound weird me saying that because I don't come across as Mr. Religious. You just poured coffee over yourself into bed.
And I bumped the microphone again. You're going to play this back to yourself, and you're going to come to me all grumpy, and you're going to say, "You bumped the microphone about 700 times, then you moved it 5 times, and then your voice sounds different throughout the whole podcast. It's so professional."
Well, the thing that bothers me is the breathing. It's like when you get the heavy breathing. Yeah, it does. Look, don't sound like you're having an asthma attack, okay? Right? I get enough of that Darth Vader stuff from Dad, so.
Yeah, like Darth Vader.
That just sounds like a coffee machine. Anyway,
so does Darth Vader.
What was that little cartoon joke that I saw the other day?
I don't know.
Oh, who likes their sausages on the dark side?
That's funny.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Are you sure sewing? Are you sure? Are you sure you saw it somewhere? You sure it was your mom asking a question in the kitchen?
No, it was actually on a piece of paper in the kitchen. It was on the back of a shopping list. I'm not joking.
Was it?
I'm not joking. It was actually on the back of a shopping list. Because I was like, what's this piece of paper? Oh, it's a shopping list. Why is it written on a piece of card? What's on the back? Oh, a cartoon.
He likes their sausages on the dark side. That's funny.
There we go. No, the church thing, right? The church thing, because I think that we should join a church community that is sensible, not is all culty or wishy-washy.
Well, shouldn't you first kind of
join a religion?
Have a belief, you know? Isn't that like...
No. That's like, do you believe, you know, well, here's the point, right?
Do you have to believe in magic?
I don't know that song. Anyway. What?
You don't know that song?
I don't know that song. No.
I'm going to have to find it for you. I'm going to have to find it for you and then put it in the comment under this podcast.
I know the one that's, oh, it's magic.
You know. No. Never believe.
Anyway. No, well, exactly. Do you have to believe in football to join the football club? Well, not really.
Well, but you have to like it.
It's about practical information and meeting good people. It's not about the, you know, deep inner workings of spirituality and the mind as such.
Is it not? Silly me.
Jazz, do not grab the mic.
And silly me always thought it was.
Do not grab the mic, Jazz.
Do you believe? Well, we should go. We should start by going and visiting Amy. But the problem is that I don't know.
You don't know what?
I don't know when she's teaching and when she's free. I'm gonna have to see if I have her.
Well, that's why Facebook exists, so you can link to people.
I don't know if she has Facebook. I have to find out. I know she has email. I had her email.
The trees and plants have Facebook.
No, they don't.
Well, they will have. Well,
Again.
Well, all you have to
More
do is,
coffee
all you have to
on
do is
the
go
day.
for a walk past and knock on the door.
Well, that's the thing. I'm worried that I'm going to disturb her giving a lesson to somebody because she keeps teaching people in her house.
Well, isn't that a good thing if you disturb her for... I mean, look, all conversation is a disturbance of some kind.
What would you like people coming and knocking at your door while you're in the middle of a lesson?
No, but I would say to them when they can come back, and then they'd go away, and then they'd come back at that time, and that would be everything organised. That would work.
I'll try and jog past or something.
I'll try and jog past. Don't put too much effort into it. Yeah. It's going to be... The podcast is going to be more about village life, isn't it? Than it is about family stuff.
Wasn't that a band? So that's some kind of
Village
pop
People.
band. Oh, well, it's Village People, not
Yes.
Village Life. Okay, darling. Well, I have to carry the baby. Are you a baby? If you're a big girl, then you have to use your own legs, darling, because only babies are for
She's a
carrying.
big 3-year-old.
Big girls are for walking down the stairs by themselves. That was a weird sentence.
Don't think too much. Don't think too much.
I need to sneeze.
Don't sneeze. Right. So, I mean, as this is another trial, is the podcast going to be more about village life than it is about?
I think you can't really determine that. I think we'll just find out. I think it will be about... I think the podcast will be about people trying to live in a village.
People trying to be people.
I have to go.
Yeah, okay.
Can you do your
kids
bloody
want
blah
breakfast.
blah blah thing?
What's that? Oh, what is that?
Thing?
Not what is that dog that you're playing with?
Thank you for bloody blah blah blah.
Oh,
I'm coming.
what,
Do you need to pee?
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. This has been
Okay.
this
She
has
wants
been,
yogurt
this
with
has been a
bananas.
morning rant. We'll see how it works out. We'll try to do once a week and share our experiences. Oh.
Okay, she needs yogurt with bananas and she needs to pee, so I have to go. Okay, say
that's
bye bye.
it. Dude, it done.
Bye bye.
Oh, it's... I don't know the Do You Believe in Magic song. Where's it from?
Probably some 80s series.
Oh, that's why I don't know it.